open sunshade.
Open.
And the front one will open. Open rear sunshade.
Open.
And then we get, it's opening up the back one there. So one of the things about this is for the front one, you just say sunshade. And for the back one, you say rear sunshade. And then you have the command open or close. And that's basically it. It also has a button right here that you can use in the back. It's a little harder to reach, so the voice command does come in handy. So you just go ahead and do that. And you can stop it at any point.
Stop.
Or you can open it back up. And it's the same for the front one here. So there you go. We can close it. And you can stop it at any point. If you just press once quickly, it'll open all the way or close all the way. If you press and hold, then wherever you let go, it will stop. So it's pretty cool. Really like it. It was somewhat difficult to install. On the website, it says a half hour. Now, it would be a half hour if you had some help. It took me about 2 hours to do it. So the challenges with this is it has little...
Let me know if you need me.
So that after you haven't used this voice command for a short period of time, I think it's about a minute or two, it will go back into sleep, and then you'll have to wake her up by saying, "Hello, TT.
I am here."
And there you go. That's her ready to answer any commands that you say. Close sunshade.
Close.
So the material matches the interior of the car very well. If you weren't looking for it, you wouldn't think this was part of the car. It does have a couple bumps along the way, but that's to hide the motors that are inside. Now there is a clip that goes underneath between the glass and the liner on the front here, and one over here, and then the same for the front and back. Now, I would highly recommend that you do not try to install this by yourself. It is quite challenging. I've installed a ton of things, so I would say that on a scale of 1 to 10, if you're doing it by yourself, it's going to be something in the 7 to 8. Just because once you get it clipped in, it pops out, and then you've got to get it back in. It does have some sharp edges, so you have to be very careful not to scratch the...
Let me know if you need me.
You have to be very careful to make sure that you're not going to scratch your liner if you intend to take this out at any time in the future. Another thing that just to be aware of is on the side here, and I'll take you in the back and I'll show it to you, or I'll drop a screenshot here, but the hooks that you have for like hanging shirts and stuff, they're completely unavailable now with the in the back here. So if that's something that you use, then this might not be the product for you because you cannot use them anymore. It does block those. Other than that, it works really well. I did do a test on a really sunny day where I just had it parked with the windows closed up. And when I had the sunshade open, the car was smoking at well over 130 degrees Fahrenheit. I did the same test by closing the sunshades, and the temperatures dropped down. You could noticeably feel the difference getting into the car. Now, again, you can precondition these cars to cool down, so that's not as big a deal for this kind of car, for the Tesla at least. But it does make a difference. I would have the sunshades closed when you park so that it just saves the interior from any of the UVs. That glass does get so hot that you can't even keep your fingers on it for a couple seconds. Anyway, I really do like this. Again, I'll drop a link to Evan's install because I lost some video files here, so my install is missing the installing the device in the top part here. But Evan, he did an amazing job doing the install. It's well documented, so go ahead and check out his link. It does show the install and some of the particulars in regards to it. So a couple things I just want to make sure is when you do run that wire up to the top here, make sure it's underneath the or behind the airbag, because if it does deploy, you don't want that to impede it in any way. And then the center piece here, when you're pulling it down to try and reach through, it's easier just to pull it down and release some of those clips in the center part here, and Evan mentions that as well. And then you can slide it through. There is a cable that's a communication cable that goes between the front and the back. I plugged that one in, and there's no instructions that I could see on what that actually does, but I'm assuming that that is the voice activation open and close for the rear. I did see a video where someone did not connect that cable, and then their voice commands for the rear shade didn't work. So I'm assuming, again, I might be wrong, but that cable probably activates the sunshade when you're using voice commands. So just make sure you plug that one in, because one of the key things is having to reach back here to do this. It's much easier just to do a voice command for the back. I'd say in the front, it's easier just to use the button, but it's there. So here's all the stuff we have here. I'll just give you a quick view. You can see over here we have this is the rear sunshade, and this is the front sunshade. I've laid them upside down so we can take a look at them, and I can show you the wiring before we go ahead and put it together. But this is how it would look if it was mounted in the car. This would be the top of the car. So they have a wiring harness right here. So this is the wiring harness that we're going to install. This is going to go to the underneath the rear seat, and it's going to connect to the positive and negative. And on the other end, we're going to run this wire up, and we're going to put this into the overhead in the Model 3. And this is probably the most difficult part from all the videos I've seen. So we'll try and see if we can use some zip ties instead of the fishing tool that they provide. I think this might work better. And then let's go ahead and I'll show you how this whole thing connects, because I haven't seen anybody do it this way, and I think this is probably an easier demonstration of how it works. So there is a cable right here, and I'm not sure what it's for. Maybe it's communication between the two so that they both can open and close at the same time. We'll find that out once we get this installed. But you'll have to run this underneath if you want to do that. So that's probably going to be pretty difficult because this is going to be up in place already. So we'll have to figure out how we can do that. But this would go through the overhead piece, back over, and it would plug into this one right here. And then each of the power supply wires, one's going to go to the front and one's going to go to the back. And they plug into these plugs here. So there's one there. And then there's one here. And again, this is going to be run up from the battery connection underneath the rear seat up through the rubber seal on the door, and then through that upper part there. And again, from everything I've seen, this is the most difficult part of the whole part, is this piece right here. Because when you go to put these in, you can see these little legs right here. This is going to slide in underneath between the glass and that headliner. And then up front we have two as well. So you'll slide these in, and then they mount right there. And so there's a nut that they provide with the screwdriver, so you have it. It's I'm probably going to use one of my own, but I'll try this and see how it works. And then all you do is put that in there, and then that should be it. And of course you'll have to plug these in. The rear one, the frame comes apart first. You mount the frame inside the car, and then you Velcro this up. Again, there's Velcros on all these, so I'll show you that as well. So let's go ahead and I'll show you that.
So you can see right here that when you take it apart, I would use something like this so that you can go ahead and just break the Velcro seals. You find the next one. And you'll do that on the other side. And then these ones are a little bit more difficult, it looks like. There's one right here. Hopefully you can see. I'll take this cable off. And there's one right here. I can see one right there. There's probably another one on the side of that motor. There we go. We've got almost the whole thing apart. Again, we'll do these ones first. So that one's done. There we go. One on the end. They kind of like to stick back to each other, so. There we go. So now all we do is just mount this piece in the back, and then we'll Velcro it back on. Wire on the negative, and the red or pink wire on the positive one here. That's all wired in. And then that goes underneath this tray. And then up along the seam here. So you just tuck it underneath. Inside here. All the way up. Over to here. And then all we have to do is figure out how to get it to there. So let's get it all wired up to that point right there first. Okay, so here's that wire right there. I tied it to my zip tie, and then I pushed the zip tie up through here like this. And what people have been struggling with is trying to pull this down. If you pull this down, and you pull enough, there's clips up here that come loose. And then you can see, if you can see in there. So now we got to do is pull the wire to the one side here, so it comes out, and then push it to the other side. So let's go ahead and do that. And if you are interested in purchasing this or any other Hansshow products, I've got a link down in the description. It'll save you anywhere from 20 to 40% depending on what sales they're running right now on all their products. So Hansshow has a warehouse in California, so you don't have to be concerned about getting a unexpected tariff fee or anything. They just ship the products direct from California to you. So that is one benefit, at least for Hansshow. I don't know about the other product companies. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you're interested in any other videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel.